looking forward to this. So I'm like, okay, let me stay on my game because I'll be hogging y'all to myself. Hit that live button. You all the conversation. Hit that
It's
live.
called a round table.
Right on. Peace and blessings, family. We back up in here for another amazing conversation around African spirituality. Again, so blessed to be joined by Yays and Iyas and Queen Mothers and all them great titles. And I hope we start using these titles again because to me they have meaning to me.
They
So when
do.
I call somebody a Queen Mother, my back almost start bending. Like I mean, I immediately I'll be like Queen Mother. Like, you know, I don't be like Queen Mother. Like I know that it don't even flow out your mouth right. You have to be like so. You
got a little bit.
Right. You know what I mean? So it just don't work like that. It's just awesome. So I'm so blessed to be joined by the Yay
Can we
with us.
can we start with a little prayer just
Go ahead.
to bring the energy in?
Who want to
Okay,
pray? You want to
Yes.
pray? You want me to pray?
you pray, yeah. You go ahead.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Since I'm in the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
A
Mm-hmm.
lava wa, a lava wa. A rumila rawa, rumila rawa, a rumila rawa. If I be a baroko code, if I be a baroko code, if I be a baroko code. A rumila be a baroko kobo, rumila be a baroko kobo, rumila be a baroko kobo. A reggae ne take who get day. A reggae ne take who get day. A reggae ne take who get day. Abbiamo chi, becamo core duro. Abbiamo chi, becamo core duro. Abbiamo chi, becamo core duro. If a lolo ni, if a lolo not, for lolo to and fail away. A rumi aloni Joe Marino Sadaye. Ishe ori rami oni monto. Oni tia risha ya for me monto. Mojuba Saju Natori, Ana Latiberi, Falolo Ni Natori Naki, Kakifa Shell Tito Fona Kill Washe, Bobo Wantel Joko Tifa Runi Te La. Baba Rumila Boni Rekun, we give you praise and thanks today for us to be here. We are humbled, so humbled to be here. We give you thanks for the day's breath, for the second's breath, and we thank you for the protection that you provide and the Rumile provide, that Oladumare provides, the Asuwada provides for us all. This we pray in the name of Oladumare and Ifa. Ashe, 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 Sheo.
Shell, shell.
Okay.
Oh, now we are ready.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Ashe.
What are we gonna talk about today? Anybody
Oh,
Oh,
wanna?
let's go with our heads, the
Say ahead.
importance of our head.
Okay.
yeah. We said something yesterday that
Mm-hmm.
we uh
Ori,
Today.
yeah, yeah,
and how to help it work.
Right.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
I didn't forget.
Yay! So who is ruling your heads? If I had to ask you all.
Ori, my head rules everything. My
Yeah.
head chose for the Irumule to come into the world with me.
Mhm.
There's a part of me, my Ori, you have your Ori Inu, you have your Ori Ode, and you have your Ipori that is connected to Olodumare, your own head, all the other Irumule, and your ancestors. But your head made the choice, asked for permission from Oludumare, made the choice to choose a destiny that was going to fit him or her to come in and do this work, whether it's just to breathe or whether it's to serve. But it is for you to make the choice of your
Mm.
best destiny. And so we chose that Odu,
Mhm.
that container that we come in. We chose the Orisha that we're going to rule our, that we're going to, they don't rule, they guide us
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
because we
Mhm.
have the choice. Okay. And we have to take care of our head. We have to take good care of our head so that we make good decisions,
I say.
so that we're not off path. and that if we do get off path, we have an opportunity to change the trajectory of that off pathness and come back to what we're supposed to be in service to Olodumare, in service to Ifa, in service to the Orisha. So that's how I feel about Ori.
Okay. Um, yes, Ori rules my head, but on my head is Obatala, and on my feet is Oshun. And yes, I made those choices. I made that contract before I reincarnated into this particular lifetime in order to fulfill the, the duties, the lessons that I need to learn as a co-creator
Mm-hmm.
with Olodumare, or the creator, or the God of your understanding, whatever word you want to use for it. So yeah, but my Ori, I salute every morning because I know that's my consciousness that gives me life. It's my consciousness, it's my breath, it's my connection to spirit and to the creator, to Olodumare. So, yeah, I have all that on my head. And then I have all the rest of the Orisha and the Iramole and everything around me, and my Egun. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Ifa Motupoe?
Um, on my head, Ori, of course, my personal godhead, like my everything. My Ori is you. It's this. That's part of me that don't depart. Um, and Orisha's on my head, Shango and Ifa.
Kabayesi.
So they say, and I just found that out. As a matter of fact, I mean, well, it just confirmed it. I've been told several things throughout my journey. So it's
Mm-hmm.
confirmed, set in stone. We asked Ifa now, and I saw fall, so I know it's true. Um, and the relationship with your Ori is that's everything. That's everything. Like if the reason I think for me, like it's so important to stay in the practice of connecting with your Ori through prayer and ritual is also because that head and heart agreement lets you move through the world. Like you can't expand, you can't go forward without that. So anything that you're trying to do is going to be thwarted by yourself. You will be the one that's in the way
Ashe.
if you don't get that together. So, in order to, that's like a temperance that it's a
Mm-hmm.
part of spiritual development. That's a temperance so that you know that your head leads your body. You don't, your emotions don't get out from under the umbrella of your Ori. Your inclinations don't get out from under the umbrella of your Ori. And that's, I mean, it's a never ending story. We put it that way. It's something that always deserves attention because it's going to always be something new popping up. If you are having a new day, then it's something new going to happen. And so it's always going to be a part of every day, every morning. And
So, with that being said, what does that mean, though?
Which part of it?
Like when you know who's on your head, who's on your feet. What do you
Well,
do?
it's still in guidance. No matter which way it is, it's in guidance and in service. Um, and I don't want those to get to be catch-all words, but when you are initiated to an Orisha or the priest of that Orisha, then there's a symbiotic relationship between you and that spirit. If you're a child of that Orisha, so to speak. So there's this walk that's with you all the time. There's this trail, is something that's always trailing you. Like I always think of Ashford and Simpson song. Snowball rolling down the hill. It's right behind me. So I think of it as always there with me. Um, when I have a Risha, when you have it on your head, it's still about the guidance. It's about them giving you second by second, or if nothing else, daily, watching over and helping you to make those better decisions. They don't make the decisions for you. Your own Ori is strong enough to do that, but they help to guide you. There's also things that in your Odu, in that relationship, that is going to tell you what will happen and how that Orisha will protect, help you maintain your lifestyle, help you to raise your children. It does a lot of different things, but it is guidance. So it's not just that they tell you what to do. They're guiding you. They're giving you advice. And when they give that advice, they hope that you will, or they expect for you to take that advice and follow it, because they have that overall they have this overall relationship that they have around you, and they see in all different planes of existence. You don't. You're sitting here in another kind of mass that you can see what's in front of you. Sometimes you can see a little bit beyond that, but in different realms of spirit, you don't see, and they give you access to that as well.
Yeah. And sometimes, many times, we stray. We stray off the path.
Mhm.
And they're there to rein us in and bring us back on path. But it's our choice. It's something that we have to recognize, acknowledge, and then that's why we have this, we pray, or
Mhm.
we say we do our rituals and we pray to our Orisha, so that we can have their assistance and they can bring us back on path, or even help us to see where we're going wrong, what's going on with us. Um, the other thing I wanted to add is that everybody who is incarnated into this third dimension has an Ori. That's everybody's got Ori on their head.
That's it.
The other thing is
Alive.
everybody comes with Obatala. Obatala comes on the head of everybody, um, until, of course, you find out who you have that relationship with. But Obatala is the father of us all. And Ori is on everybody's head. Everybody has an Ori. So everybody has the ability to elevate, and we don't all have to elevate in Ifa or Yoruba. We can go to Vudan, we can go to the Kemetic sciences, we can go to Ekon, we can go to any other spiritual system that we wish to go to. But we all have a consciousness, and we are all to develop the consciousness, to raise ourselves, to elevate ourselves, and to also elevate our soul family, because we have a soul family that we are part of and that we have been part of for eons. And
I can't hear.
as who's
Just
that?
go
Eva
out
Madupa?
again. Yeah, she's just going to have to go out and come back in again. That's what she's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we all have Ori, and we can all use that um, and venerate that. We can all salute our head every morning. When you know that saying they have, she sure's got a bad head. you know. Um,
I used to
so
think that was about drinking.
well, it is that
Okay.
you know that stupid juice makes you kind of off. Um, so yes, it is about drinking, but there's some people they just have a bad head. They're always mad, they're always sad, they're always down in the dumps, and they need to have a little work done.
Lifting up.
Yeah, lift it up. So.
Well, it
mm,
goes back to what is that about? Because at the end of the day, when we start talking about that level of elevation, there are things that people can do in order to start helping them elevate, especially in your own families. Um, when you start talking about the relationship between your head, their heads, all sentient beings have Ori. There's nothing in existence that does not have um, that relationship. They all have that. Um, but then what you can do within your own family, not only saluting, because we believe in feeding our heads. Ogundameji teaches you about the mouth is is that place where food goes in, but it's also where we feed our ori as well. That's why when we are not only praying, or if we put water and we're touching our head and we're praying to our head, we're also putting food there, shea butter, things like that, effum to our heads, because that's to help it to elevate. Okay, if you're going to do that, you're going to do other things to help it magnify itself. Okay, it's called sacrifice. Mouth is the first place of sacrifice, and that's what we do. Um, we also in those prayers, in those feedings, we're not only feeding here, we have to look about where our second head is, and that's the inu, this little belly button and stuff right in the stomach. That's another place that we feed, because that is an entrance and exit point for your ori, your spirit going in and out, especially when you drink. Okay. And those are areas that should be protected with prayer as well. So we have prayers for that. So these are all the different things that we can do, but prayer is an electrification of your word and breath in order to make it hot in travel. It's like a fuel. So, which is also why we have that little gin. Before we do prayer, we have water, we have gin, we have atare, hot peppers, because those make the mouth hot so that we can get that prayer out and magnify it. Those are some of the things that we do so that they hear us, they act on our words. And that's another part of doing the worship and the service. Those are things that you get while you're working, so that you're able to, if I'm saying that I need goodness in my life, and I'm identifying that goodness, I'm not just saying I want a house, I want money, I want a man, I'm saying that I also show me how to be a better person. That's part of my prayer. Show me how to have good character the way you want me to have it. Am I listening? Can I hear? Then if I can't hear, help me to hear better.
Mhm.
We
So,
incorporate that.
so one of the young ladies is asking, nice, does that tie in with waist bead as far as the Ori and the belly button?
Does that tie into
Wait a
waist
minute.
bead?
Yeah, well, Ori and your belly button.
That's the enu. Okay, that's where that your spirit. Let me give you an example. Have you ever in at night at one point, like you're trying to wake up from a dream and you feel like something's pressing you down?
Mm-hmm.
You felt that before?
I
Yeah.
have.
Okay, that ain't somebody doing that to you. That's you trying to get back in your body. Your spirit is trying, and it kind of like missed the launch pad here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. And so is you just have to calm down because it makes you want to run. Okay,
Yeah.
like, but you just gotta calm down because it's you find yourself screaming, somebody help me, But it's really you shift your body and your spirit shifted and it could not get back in to settle into the body.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever get a chance to look at it, there's this like string that attaches you between your walking spirit and your physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said that it needed to be protected. You pray not only to your head, you're praying to your stomach, you're praying to your ancestors so that they're able to help you with all this stuff we do here.
Right
And
on.
helping is those little things too. Finding the right information that'll help you on your journey.
Right on. Right on.
With your Inu, um, I'm also going to jump in here with something that's kind of out of the sphere of Ifa or Yoruba tradition, in that remember we are connected to spirit through our mothers
Hmm.
at that point. That is where the umbilical cord
Cord is
is.
right.
And that is where it is it's so important. And it's our spiritual connection. It's our connection to spirit. It's our connection to the God of our understanding, to Olodumare. That particular spot. And there are cultures where they don't cut that umbilical
Right.
cord.
They let it fall off.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, Also, it's important for us to understand that that spot, even though men have the same uh, belly button and all of that, but that is a sacred spot for the feminine energy. That is the holder of the feminine energy. That
Hmm.
is the connection. And so that is why especially for women, we have to guard and protect and keep
Honor.
that honor, and
Hmm.
keep that part of our body sacred and special because it is. It is the link between heaven and earth.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
it.
Let's talk about a river.
Hey.
I do have a question though. Like, I mean, I understood everything you all said. So why is it? This is mainly on the East Coast. I've seen this when somebody send you to the store for some alcohol. Why is it the wine and spirit shop?
Mhm.
Yeah, here we just have liquor store, but I've been on the East Coast. I'm originally from Philly, and they have wine and spirits. Why isn't it just wine and liquor? Do
You
No,
know,
you?
I
Yeah.
it
never
ain't,
thought about that.
it
I've
ain't
seen
liquor. It ain't liquor. That's spirit.
it's a
Don't you get
spirit.
that? Don't you get
It's a
that spirit
spirit.
when you drink that? Yeah.
It transforms character. We know that.
But I always wonder, like, why is it the wine and spirit shop?
I'm sure there's a very scientific answer to that question, but quite frankly, I think it's because I get the spirit when I get that liquor. I'm just playing. That's a good question.
Yeah, it is because maybe they were closer to if you start talking about it, it's like maybe they were closer to understanding that it was something that was in it that was not necessarily human, but in terms of I don't because I don't remember when they stopped calling it that coming back to the east, coming back west, because we've had that in Chicago. They used to have wine and spirits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I hear them say that people who are alleviated, we say drunks, the sober mind, does it put you in a different altered state that you can't get to when you just walking around without it? Like it allow you to release spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Because people do show up differently when they start drinking. It's like they are somewhat freer. I'm not advocating people to start drinking. I'm just saying, people.
No, but it does cause for you to. It does cause for you to be more open and liberal with your speech. Okay. Interestingly enough, though, I don't see them calling it. They call wine, but when it comes to other alcohol, then they're calling it spirit. So, like, it must be something else there. And the fact that we use it, we use it in ceremonies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to take that into consideration. Not only ceremonies, but we use it in parts of medicines that are made, homeopathic medicines, medicines that you have to use. You mix the powder with the alcohol as a medium of being able to expand in the body. So we're using black medicines from home. So the different types of medicines that can be used to help ward off things or bring things to you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I use liquor in my Florida when I make Florida water. I make my own. So I use liquor as a medium within that Florida water to call in certain energies or spirits.
Right.
The other thing I was thinking of from the liquor store to the wines and spirits, maybe it has something to do with the East Coast being a little bit older, and that term of wines and spirits was an older term than just liquor. I don't know. That's just something that popped into my
head. They were the first colonized. Let's put it like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Everybody does that because I don't know if they're older, but because Brazil is only 900 miles from Nigeria, so it could just be that they are, that they were first colonized.
Yeah, the people on the West Coast, the colonies, the 13 colonies, or how, they were older. And so some of their, the way they put things, their language, and the names that they have is just different from the West Coast. The East Coast is very different from the West Coast. Now, I've found that in just living on both coast, they're just very different. Even some of the foods are given different names. So I remember when we used to call soda pop.
Oh, now you're dating everybody for real.
Well, hey, yeah. They told me about that.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Because I remember, if we start talking about that, then we'll start talking about pickles and peppermint sticks. So
Yes, 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 yes.
kosher pickles and peppermint sticks.
Oh,
Right. Is there any connection between sayings and African spirituality? Um, when you hear people talk about like get your head right, um, just some of the sayings you would hear, or some of the superstition things about having people put things under your bed, or just some of the things people would say would be superstition. But is there a connection to spirit with some of those things?
Yeah,
When it's like,
mm-hmm.
yeah,
I would think so because for when you say putting under the bed, the first thing I think of is water. We take glasses
Yeah,
of water, put a
yeah.
dime in it. It's not a superstition. Water is a conduit, and it's
right,
a
Mm-hmm.
conduit, spiritual conduit. So you put water up under the bed so that it will cool things out and you get clarity in your dreams. A large part of what we do in dream work is that we have to clear path for traveling so that we can see clearly. And if there's any spiritual messages that need to be brought back, you want that clear. Then we take the water out from under the bed and we pour it into the earth. And we give a prayer to the earth to absorb any negativity that had
Mm-hmm.
taken place in the night in our travels.
mm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you have to think of it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a
Yeah.
lot
And
of mhm.
go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just thinking that a lot of what we do that we might think of as legend or mythology are somehow and most times based in true rituals of things that have been done.
right on.
Um, you know, um, women's cycle. I hate that one. The blood cycle. That
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be around here in ritual because of that.
Uh,
Well, as opposed to thinking it in that sense, think of it as in other indigenous cultures where women who are on their moon cycle, are placed strategically in places
Yes.
where their rituals so that the power of that cycle can be used to point the ritual and the element and the prayer in a specific direction and to open portals because portals are made of what? DNA.
mm,
Okay. So we got to think of that's what you have to use that. Sometimes we have to go beyond what's told to us and start looking and digging and finding out more about what's going on. Why are you telling me no on this? Huh. Okay, well, let me find out a little bit more about this. Let me see what somebody else does with this information. You know? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I found was that digging, you know, that a vortex, or a black hole, what is a black hole made of?
mm,
Okay. So where's the science in it? See, E5 is always about
Science.
it's not just the religion, it's science, it's
Science.
literature, it's poetry. So it's all these different elements, it's math. Okay. So you got to look at all these different aspects of it. So, blood work is always about opening up a specific spiritual realm. And what helps to open it up? Other energy, DNA. That's one of the things that we use.
Mm-hmm.
so y'all
Mm-hmm.
got some comments in here. One sister is saying, "What is the prayer that we should pray to soak up the negativity once we wake up?" That's one sister. Another sister says she thinks the big disconnect with that in our generation. I think she may be in her late 20s or maybe early 30s. Is the pain we experience with our cycles. It's made more and more accepting of unacceptable views of our body because we never felt good to me until recently.
I didn't get that what she said. I'm not. What is her question?
So the one question is what is the prayer that we should pray? I mean, what is the prayer that we should pray to soak up negative energy once we awake?
Edgy balea rubidero jalu toro toro. Edgy balea rubidero jalu toro toro. Edgy balea rubidero. It is the blood that cleanses evil. It is the blood that cleanses evil. It is the blood that
That
cleanses
cleanses
evil.
evil. Yeah,
Stroke him,
yeah,
Father Rosumeji.
All right.
yeah. It
The
is the
same
blood
person
that.
says, why is it recommended for us to wear cotton in our belly buttons? I haven't heard it in a while.
Well, who's saying that?
This is a queen here in the room. I don't want to mess her name up. It's like a really long name. I'm so sorry, sis. I hate messing up people's names. It look like Ram Bun
Rambunctious
Who?
Rue.
Huh? You
It
see
looks
it?
like rambunctious Rue.
Okay, thank you, sis. I don't like messing up people's names, boy. But that's that's what she's asked. That's her question there about that. I think the other sister is also saying that she thinks for her the big disconnect with the period for generations is the pain we associate with being on your cycle. Like, oh, it's so painful. And I know for me, when somebody taught me about the eating habits of when I was on my cycle, it became easier. That was one. And then two, when I had my fibroid removed, that just totally helped me out. Because the older I got, the worse they got. So
Yeah.
part of it I was trying to like not eat so much so I don't be so full. And then that muscle presses up against the muscle that's, doing with
Right.
But that helped.
Going
But
back to science.
yeah, going back to science, and also being made to feel some way about your body is what she was saying. So some people like, I hate my period, but we don't even understand the blessing of even having the period.
Right.
We're
It
not
is a
taught to you in
blessing.
that manner.
And too often what that is that's remnants of a society, a
Yeah,
global society impact on the psyche of women that we allow.
yeah.
Okay.
Because when
It's
you
any
when you say that, you are you're putting that much more energy into the pains, or it's not even. I'm not gonna. If it's pain to you, it's pain, but that's fairly normal. It's normal for us to feel something when you think about what is going on within our bodies. And I think I agree with Yeye when she says it's the society's way of putting it, and we have taken that on. The other thing that I was going to say earlier is that we, over on this side of the Atlantic now, we have lost touch with our female societies and having our women together during their moon time in many villages, nations, towns, whatever name you want to, clans you want to give to it, all of the women would be on their moon time at the same time.
right.
Or close to the same. This happens a lot in offices, in our jobs, in certain offices. You'll find all the women are on their menses at the same time. And that's when we would come together. That's when we are so very powerful. And that also, for me, points to those sister circles that we need to have those sister circles, that sister time when we all come together. So, and the other thing is the person that asked the question about cotton and the
Belly
and
button.
the naval area. I
Mhm.
don't know exactly what she's referring to, but of course this is going to go
That's
back a while.
it's yeah, you go back a little bit, but what they used to
Yeah,
do was say if you didn't want spirits to come in, they used to take Ephraim and put inside the belly button and the cotton. And sometimes if you're going into a cemetery to do work in the cemetery, you had to put Elfone and cotton in the belly button in order to keep spirits from riding you, especially if you are susceptible to that. So that's, some people are natural elegoons. Elegoon is a person who can um manage, okay, or they're ones who their specific Orisha will speak through them. And so that also means that they're open and susceptible to
Yes.
other spirits
Spirits.
mounting them as they're dancing, to sacred drums and things like that, or if they're entering into a ritual space. So those were the things that were used to close that area off, and then they would have to take Elfone and put at the bottom of the feet so
Mm-hmm.
that they wouldn't be susceptible to that, because some people spirits come through their feet.
Feet.
Some
Yeah.
people, you got 9 different holes too, that spirits can go through. So
Mm-hmm. Our feet are really important, uh, because all of our organs come to a head in our feet, those nerves. It's very important to be respectful of your feet. And it's something that we usually don't pay much attention to. Our feet have carried us through the world. If you ain't got no feet, you got a problem.
yeah.
So, so we have to be really respectful of our feet. And the other thing is we need to put our feet onto Mother Earth, because we get healing through Mother Earth and it goes right up into our feet. And yes, you have to be careful about spirits as well, in terms of, see, it makes sense. You can get healing
Hmm.
through it, or you can get something that might not be in your best interest through it. But usually not when you just put your feet onto Mother Earth, or you go to the beach and put your feet in. It's nothing like putting your feet in some nice sand and massaging your feet with that.
Okay, we're
So,
talking pre-COVID-19, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
I
Okay,
long for the beach. Okay, so
I hope we get to post COVID-19 and I can put my feet in Yemaya. I need to have some water from the ocean on my feet.
you said something about when spirits ride you. Can you elaborate on that?
when I call it, that's the colloquial uh fast ass kind of way of saying stuff. But
Right.
but what we're talking about is being in possession. Being in possession is an act of when a spirit, which can be Agun and or Orisha, will shift your consciousness out of your physical body, and they take over. As they're doing that, it's not taking you out of it, but it's just a shift. And they can speak through you during that particular shift. They will tell a person about um, healing that needs to take place. Sometimes they tell that person about things that they're doing that no one else knows that they're doing, so that they know that that is an Orisha talking to them. And so they'll do that to give them advice, to help them to understand a path that they should be on, that they may not be on, or they might even recommend medicines or a specific elbow sacrifice that needs to be done. So that's what I'm talking about. That spirit will ride a person. That what I'm talking about specifically is that a priest that has been charged or uh, initiated to an Orisha can, or not just Orisha, a Gungun, and other spirit forces and they will be able to tell another person or a group of people things that they're going to need in
Yes.
order to help their journey here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
When I asked you that question, I thought in my mind, this is just my visual, of JD Revenge. How many of y'all seen that movie? No, it was
I
just a movie.
haven't.
But JD Revenge is a classic black movie with Glenn Thurman, and he's in New Orleans. He's this law student. He goes out one day with his friends. They come get a break from studying, and while he's under hypnosis, a spirit slips in. But it's an unsettling spirit that was murdered, and so
Mm.
come back to get revenge. That's why it's called JD.
Okay.
It's a classic. It's like it was shot like 1974. But when I think about that, sometimes I see other energies in people
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like I know I done, like that's from a different time. But when we have so many unsettled spirits on the planet, they do find their way into people because they're trying to get their work done that
Right.
wasn't finished before they inspired.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So what do
Yeah.
we do with
Absolutely.
those spirits that are stuck in the middle that can't move on because they need us to help them move on? That's why I think sometimes they enter people.
Yeah, they do, but sometimes they enter the wrong people that may not be able to. A person, just because a person is susceptible to an energy doesn't mean that they're the right one for the job.
Right on.
Okay. So, what that's why we have other societies that help to identify those spirits and then help them and move them. That's why we would have misas or Jokos, so that we could before initiations, if this person has um spirits that are around that need to be elevated and dismissed, then those
Mm,
spirits are elevated and then they are sent on. Okay, you cleaned up now, you can move to your next best place. So this
mm,
person that's getting ready to go into initiation can learn their route and does not have to deal with that kind of negative spirit.
mm.
Because that, just because you die don't mean you good. Okay. You know,
No. That makes me think of Beloved when he said, "I thought that the woman died easy," and she's like, "No, that ain't her.
uh-uh.
That's
No.
Beloved."
Thank
Yeah.
you. And that
Yeah.
was.
And it was, yeah. Big.
Yeah.
So what kind of? Because I always feel like there's a lot of those spirits running around. I know we've had people from slavery times, but I also think that crack era, a lot of people left out of here, and those energies weren't. They didn't go down.
Yeah.
The,
No,
what
they
do we
didn't.
do with those energies? Because we know that they're still here, and they have descendants.
Yeah.
Some do. Okay.
Some of them do have descendants.
Yeah. And they have relatives, period. But the only logical thing is that if we're incorporating um that in prayer. For example, if this particular spirit is constantly bothering somebody, okay, and you can see that spirit is bothering, give you a short story. I was at a Joko, and I'm sitting there. The Joko is for somebody else, okay. I'm sitting there. I'm a Eldrum, so like I see this spirit sitting on this girl, and it's a man, okay, and it's her behavior. And talking with other relatives later, it was about her behavior was always off. She always get mad. She get, she go into tantrums, other things like that. So I'm sitting there, and so while they are praying for this spirit, in me it said to talk to that spirit. So I started talking to him and telling him, I see you, and you need to move on. And so they asked me, because it broke the cycle of the prayer that was being done for somebody else. And so I told them, this is what I see. This is a male spirit. This is what he looks like. I gave the description of the man. And she said, "Oh my God, that's my grandfather." I said, "Well, you need to let him go because it's not you're not acting your life, you're acting his. He's trying to work his life back through you, and that's not fair." And when he realized that I had said that and everybody else had pointed their energy toward him, he ran out the door. So that's what I mean by you can, that there's all kind of ways to get them because like when they are not elevated right, okay? He was causing her havoc in her life. People did not like that girl. And it was all because she was acting out of his energy, not her own. And so after that, she got work done. She cleaned up, looked like a different girl. Didn't even look like the same girl. So that's what can happen. There's a transformation that can take place in a person's life when you actually are seeing these things and you do something about it. Because, yeah, we got all kinds of spirits running around here. Okay?
Yeah.
They ain't nothing nice.
I have a question. So, with the way people are dying from the COVID, right? So they're hospitalized. They take them from the family never sees them once they've been diagnosed. That's if they pass from the COVID, the family never sees them. They don't have a service. They don't have anything. Is there anything that we should be telling people about? Making sure that those spirits are safe?
Absolutely, yes. We should be telling them, we have too much technology. Just like we're sitting here, we're all in different places. We can get online with our family members and have memorial services. Real simple. Lift that spirit up. Pray it up. If you're Orisha people, have Dafasi, what needs to be done, what needs to be fed, and feed it and lift that spirit up so that they can turn around and come back and do the job, do the destiny that they were supposed to do. But then on the other hand, you also have to take into consideration that we choose to come in this world. We also choose periods of when we go leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to just ask also if this is the destiny that they chose. Then we want them to lift up, elevate, so that they can help their family in their time of solace and bereavement. So that there's a peace going on through the family, so that we can move on to the next stage of our existence. Does that answer it?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, an excellent question to ask because we know right now, even though there's always death happening on the planet, but it's like when it's been marked like this is about a bigger attention. Like this is something that we're supposed to be getting maybe as a collective because it's happening in a collective. That's a good question.
We have to be very cognizant and mindful of where our brothers and sisters are transitioning, like hospitals. There are going to, at some point, we're going to have to do some clearing out of those when we can, of those spaces, because they have, just like when those buildings came down in New York, that space down in Manhattan. That space, I do know that there were a group of us, a group of Orisha devotees from Brooklyn, I think, or all over the city that went down to the buildings. I forget the name we had for that, but anyway, who went down there and did do some rituals, some clearing out ceremonies to help all of those spirits, those people who had transitioned so tragically, at what is that thing called when the airplanes went into the buildings down there? The towers. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. We did some work around that, and we're going to have to do some pretty heavy duty work when it comes to COVID, because it's not. There's a whole lot going on that we aren't even talking about. But when it comes to the transition part of it, a lot of people have transitioned. This is not happening just by happenstance. It's happening because it needs to happen. It's supposed to happen. We contracted for it to happen and to be here during this time. And we're going to have to do some work for those people who have gone on, those spirits who have gone on. And because I would imagine that a lot of them will be stuck.
Mm, mm. You know
Was
that
mm,
when every year when we do the road trip, we go to that African burial ground, and one of the things that stuck out for me that's right there in Wall Street. You know, they have like the museum,
mm,
memorial about those people who were traditionalists in that time. I think that was the early '90s when they discovered that burial ground that had been
Right?
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
How the spiritualists went down in there and did ceremony and prayer because
Yes.
those people
Yeah.
needed to be discovered. They needed to be seen. And I think we have a lot of that in the midst of where we are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
Uh,
people
yeah.
are so
Because
unsettled because people
we're
don't
not
get to.
100% clear how bodies are being discarded of.
So yeah,
Like
how are
some
they being?
people, so
Hmm.
there are some cremations happening, but there's also places where bodies are piling up, and we're not
Mhm.
clear on how they're going to handle that. Like prisons, hospitals, care homes, all these places where people have been crowded together and they are susceptible and they're just carrying bodies out. We need to know that there's going to be some spiritual backlash in terms of how
Of
people are
course
being
it
left.
is.
Hmm.
Anytime you have a disregard of the human endeavor, the human body, and like this is taking place now, where they're not having farewell ceremonies, especially in our communities,
Hmm.
we have to at least talk about different ways in which to do so
Yes.
that some level of work is done, or at least inspired into other people in our community to do it,
Yes.
Mm.
because a lot of times they're not, it's like we had a situation a few years ago where Ifa had told that they needed to do work in order to save the children of the community, and people were looking at, well, my priest didn't do that and my priest didn't do that. Well, it gets to a place where we have to stop thinking in those terms because we're a global community. I
Yeah.
don't
Mm.
care who tells me my zipper is down. Just tell me it's down so I can zip it up. Okay. So it don't matter who does it. Let's do it. You know? And that's the thing
Hmm.
that we have to get across. We want our people to do the work. If
Mm.
get in and have ceremony, have prayer services, have worship services in different ways, and on social media wherever you can, so you can start lifting this stuff up because it's starting to burden us down.
Hmm.
We
Yes.
have,
Hmm.
because those are spirits that are troubled. We got troubled spirits now, so we have to help them and help ourselves in the same token,
Hmm.
and
True.
start lifting
Yeah.
this negative energy up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I just think that's major. When I see people recruiting for like medical personnel, I'm like, we better be recruiting people in this spiritual personnel, like because that's the real work. Because I find that when we don't do that, those spirits come back onto the planet, and then we got something else
Yeah,
Yes.
we call
going
chaos.
on. Yeah,
It's
called
called
chaos.
chaos.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because more people die also that won't will be COVID related, but in a spiritual way. So
Hmm.
physically,
Oh, yes.
people
Yes.
start to
Yes.
have other types of symptoms that they cannot explain, and it's
Yep.
because they're being impacted by this.
Right.
And because we know that it's global, it's not a small thing. When we look
Yeah.
at the numbers, we can tell that it's a big thing, and we know that these bodies hold Ashe. So we gotta do
Absolutely.
what we do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are some of the things we should be doing right now? Like those who are spiritualists, who are in tune, what are some of the things you could recommend for their head, their Ori, and then just in their environment that they should?
Ori is prayer. Okay. We're doing prayer for our Ori. Um, and it doesn't have to be, sometimes we get these esoteric, want to be a big prayer. No, sometimes it's just plain, ordinary, common sense talk. Like talk to yourself. It's okay.
Yes.
Ori, I need your help. You know,
Yes.
and have
Yes.
your right intention with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because it has to be a right intention for you. Because if it's not a right intention for you, you're not going to be able to do it for anybody else.
Exactly.
So it's how we intend for ourselves. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be impaired. I don't want to be broke. I can go on and on and on. I don't want to have these other issues coming back on us. I don't want to see my children, grandchildren, great grandchildren floating around with some negative spirit on them because if I had an opportunity to get it off of them. So we
I
have
don't.
to think in terms of the collective as opposed to just ourselves. So when you're praying to your Ori, you remember that you are not only connected to Olodumare, you are connected to everyone. I'm connected to each and every last one of you all. When I pray, I'm praying to us as well. So we have to remember that and start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Start
Mm-hmm.
lifting this stuff up. If we're on this medium, then we can be on other mediums. We
Well,
can, use Facebook and other social media as a means to getting our word out of what
right
we
on.
need to do. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Uh,
what we have to have done.
yeah. Yeah. To send those messages out into the ethers so
Hmm.
that spirit will the spirits that are stuck will dissipate and elevate,
Hmm.
and will clear the way for the good spirits to come in and help us during this time, because
Absolutely.
we need the help of our good spirits to come in, and we got to clear out this any negative, and I hate using that word negative, but any spirits that are not in our best interest, we've got to clear that out. And we can do that work.
Hmm.
Anybody can do that work. If I don't care what you are, you can be Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Ifa,
Hindu.
Kumi, anything, whatever you are, pray to the God of your understanding and speak to the God of your understanding.
Hmm.
Speak it. Our ability to speak is to put sound into the ethers, into the universe. You speak it, it will be. And we have to speak goodness into this time and life
Hmm.
into this time, and the honoring and the
Yeah.
holiness and the sacredness of life into this time, to dispel other things that are other forces that are
Hmm.
trying to hold us back for their own purposes.
Mm,
Gotcha.
I say. You find multiple. Anything you want to add to that as we wrap up?
Yes. We need to fortify our entrances to our homes, entrances and exits to the home.
Gotcha.
If you know
Gosh.
how to do that, anything your grandma told you what to do to your house, you need to do it now. If somebody gave in your lineage gave you something that to protect you, put it on. If
Hmm.
stay and protected. So for people who are in the tradition, this is the time to clean yourself regularly, spiritually, and if you don't have protection, to go get some, because it will be important for you,
Sure.
not just now, but as we start to, when they open up outside and we get to go back into the world, it's going to be paramount important that we have our protection on. This is a redirection of our focus. And
Yeah.
so, um, as we care for ourselves and we keep ourselves prayed up and fortified, we also can do those things for ourselves. If there's Ia blessed me with some baths, and that was what came to me out of that clarity, was that this is probably about 90% of what we need to be doing, is staying clean spiritually, because we know that nothing that is material or seen, and that includes anything impacting the body, comes from something unseen. So you have to have a way for something to get in. That's still true. Even big as this is, or as imposing and scary as it is, the truth is still the truth.
Yeah.
That you gotta let it in. It has to have a way to get in. And maybe this is more insidious than other things that we've dealt with. We don't know for sure how it came into being, but we know that we have ways of protecting ourselves, and they track to the physical as well. So we need to do what we supposed to be doing.
Sure.
There's one thing I was going to say. There's a reason why um, our African traditional systems have come back to us in such a huge way in the past, I'll say 50 years. Um, Even more so in the past, I think 30 years. It's a reason. We're being prepared for what's coming. And I'm not talking about COVID or coronavirus. I'm talking about our own elevation as a nation of people. We're being prepared for it. That's why we're going back to our traditions so that we can stand in our rightful spiritual place. We got to get our spiritual heads, our spiritual bodies into alignment and remove ourselves from the Western way that we have been placed in and get our African minds back, so to speak, but our spiritual minds, because we didn't have them. We were working with somebody else's spiritual this, and it wasn't in our best interest. And so now we're waking up, and we have people who are coming, who want to know, who are eager to know, but it takes time. So I said 50 years, it's going to take us time to get there, but at least we're starting. We're moving in that direction, and that is really important.
We'll talk.
Sure.
Well, ladies, it's been another good show. No, I just love that you can ask questions. And this is one of the things I really love about just being with y'all. I can think about something I always want to ask, and then it can ask it. I don't know about y'all, but I grew up with elders where I had one of them like, you always asking questions. But then when I didn't ask questions, like, you ain't got no questions for me? So it was just always really beautiful to at least say something and they think about it like, well, that's why you asking that. And they say, and then you say why, and they give you, the information. But I feel like we're missing that in this time. And maybe this is the time where you can reconnect to that energy.
Yeah.
There's elders in your family that you need to be talking to. You need to be asking those questions. I was talking to one of my queen mothers this morning earlier, and she was saying she learned that her great grandmother died of the Spanish flu. And just gave birth to her daughter, and then she got the Spanish flu and died. And so, she said, I didn't even know that. So we were just kind of talking. It's just something about when she was talking to her mother, and her mother had shared that information. And I just thought to myself, wow, that's the kind of conversation you should be asking. Like when I asked about that wine and spirit shop, really, I used to always say, why is this called the spirit shop? We gonna see spirits in here? Like, because you're going into a store, you're a kid. So that's always been a question for me. But now as I older, it makes sense. But you know how you just have questions? It's like when somebody before you, they can give you such insight. Like you don't have to spend 50 years pondering on something that you can ask an elder and find out in a couple of minutes. Or at least get a good start.
You know, I thought about something else too, because remember with gin, you got juniper berries in there. You do have spirits in there because that is a way is in there.
Oh, yes,
So,
yes.
okay. So gin is made from juniper berries too. That's one of the herbs that goes into it. So that's an old sign.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes
So it is a
sense.
spirit.
And different from wine. So wine is the fermenting of grapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the other is with the
liquor
A-way, the
or
actual
a
leaves.
spirit is more of an alchemical process, right? There's more water involved. There's more herbs involved. So absinthe is all wormwood, and I mean, yeah, that's how they flavor it is with herbs.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's still a spirit.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
thought, I was
It's
like,
medicine, basically. It's,
Yeah.
it's medicine.
hold on, last thing before we go, I just gotta throw this out there. Is there anything like that when it comes to tobacco or marijuana?
Yeah.
That's a way too.
The ganja does have a spirit to it, you know.
Yes. Yes. It does. And it can lift your spirit.
They put it in the medicine too.
We always knew it was medicine. They just saying, what is it, CBT or something? They just we know it's medicine.
We just pray over it again, you know.
That is so funny. I literally just thought about that. The only time I've seen that reference is when people will be in native traditions where you know, go over to the mountains and you smoke your tapati, like their pipes and
Yes.
But remember, that's all prayed over.
Yes.
The tobacco was prayed over. Okay.
Yes.
When you're doing, it ain't no different when we making Omero. We're praying over each leaf, identifying to the spirits what that leaf will bring and what it does. And we giving thanks to Osayin for having it to help us. Okay. So it ain't no different. Tobacco was in the same party, same thing. Okay. Because at one point it was a trade. It was money, actually. Tobacco was money. A type of resource. So we have to also remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ladies, thank you again. All right, fam. Y'all know the procedure. Don't hang up. Let me just say thank you, everybody. And I'll check in with y'all tomorrow. Peace, family.
Peace.
Okay.
I'm gonna go run and get this cord.